God that you've given me, to enable me to have the home that I've got, to pay my bills, to have a refrigerator with food in it, to be able to drive a vehicle and to get here, and to be able to have things God's favor. Is there a stronghold in your life that's causing you to fall short of it? What's in your garden? What's growing in your garden? Are you having one of those wonderful gardens? There's a fellow down here on 2nd Street by the Tabernacle Church. Anybody know what I'm talking about? That boy that raised his garden there. And you go by in the summertime, and I just want to get out and take pictures of it. Because it's the most amazing thing I've ever laid eyes on. I mean, this guy, everything's just perfect, growing. He grows tomatoes like nobody else. Beans. Everything here's like, man, this can't be real. And I just thought, I think, this is amazing how good this fella can do this. He's got a gift of doing it. Some of you's good at that. And his garden flourishes every year. I remember one year, my mother, she likes to can tomatoes and a few beans, and she comes, she said, I found us some beans. If you'll go get them, I'll can them. I said, all right, that's the deal I like. I'll go get them, bring them to the house, you can them, and I'll show back up when they're finished. And I'll have me some beans. And soon, it won't be long here, we'll be getting some of them beans and them new potatoes. Cornbread. Ain't nothing no better than that except more of it. But this fella has a garden that's unbelievable. It's unique. He fertilizes. He does everything exactly correctly so that he has a flourishing garden. And there's no weeds. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfect. And I thought, man, my spiritual garden, I need to model myself after that. The preparation that he puts in. The hard work. What is that? That's praying, seeking God, reading the Bible, coming to church. I'm talking to, not just on Sunday. You know, there's a lot of folks that, man, they never pray except one time a week. And there's a lot of folks that only pray when the preacher's praying and their head's down. They can be praying every single day. Every day. Every night, every morning. Kind of like on Daniel. You know, Daniel's a great example. Folks talk about when he got through in that lion's den that, you know, the Lord moved and he started praying. I'm going to tell you what, Daniel was prayed up when he got pitched in. Daniel was sitting on ready when he went in. He didn't have to get right with the Lord when he got in the lion's den. He was already there. And when he got there, them lions had lockjaw. They couldn't open them. They couldn't even lick them. They couldn't do that. I'm sure I'd go, there's a good guy down here. Oh, I think he knows something good. But he was prayed up and ready. He had everything lined out. What are you planted in your garden? What are you fertilizing? What are you growing? Is there a stronghold in your life? Seek God for that release of that. Call on Him. Pray to Him. Seek His name. The Word says, if we draw nigh to God, what will He do? Draw nigh unto us. It's kind of like this. I've said this many times. I use this example. And I'm bad for this. Sometimes folks will call me and I pick the phone up and I'm like, I know who this is, I think. Their voice sounds familiar. Feel sorry. I'm like, and I get off the phone. She says, who was that? I said, I have no idea. And I'll sit there and think, I said, I know who it was. And it comes to me and I'll go, it's so-and-so. I said, just now remember who it was. If they don't show up on the caller ID, I'm like, yeah. But a lot of us, I truly believe, when we call on the name of the Lord and we begin to pray, it's almost like, well, who is that on the other end? I've not heard from you in a while. Where have you been? I can just see the Lord saying, that voice sounds familiar, but it's been a while. Because and I've been there and been guilty as everybody else at one time or two in my life. When I called on the Lord when things were bad. When the youngins were sick, when the wolf was at the door, when I needed a job, I was a prayer warrior. And then after that, I thought, I lightened up. Until the next adventure. The next tragedy. The next hard time, the next whatever. But we need to pray and seek His face, drawn out of Him, read our Bible, seek Him for the release of the strongholds in our garden, so that in our rows there ain't a whole lot of weeds and tares growing up and we're out there just trying to whack at it. You know, kind of like our garden. Man, it was an adventure. You could have took the best tiller in the world and just wore it out, and the next day look back at there. I just plowed that. It's back. A lot of us are that way. It's back. Strongholds. What are you growing in your garden today? Is there strongholds in your life? Things that you need to release from. Things that you need to give to God. Things you need to turn over to Him. Things that you need to lay on the altar and give to the Lord. Things that you need to do so that your garden's producing wonderful fruit. I'll give you one more example. You've heard me talk about this when I was about 17, 18 years old. I worked for Allen and Lena Petrie Supermarket on the corner, great big country store. Miss those places like that today. But they would send me out to Emlyn to a fellow named G.C. Sprout. Some of you may know who I'm talking about. This fellow raised apples at Emlyn, Kentucky. And I always thought at that point, all them big shiny apples we got, I thought them things come from Florida or California or someplace, you know. Them big perfect ones about the size of a softball that was shiny. There wasn't no blemish in them. But I found out one day that they come from Emlyn, Kentucky. They sent me out there. They said, I want you to go out to G.C. Sprout's. He's got some apples. He had different ones. He had like golden delicious and red delicious and all this stuff. I mean, he had all the flavors. And I pulled out there and I got to G.C.'s place and I got out of the vehicle and I looked and I went, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Because there was row after row of perfect fruit trees. They would just absolutely come up like this, and they were just full of wonderful apples. And I said, they sent me from pictures. He said, I got you a couple boxes here, and I opened them up, and there was them shiny, perfect apples. And this fellow would prune those trees. He would spray them. He would fertilize. He did everything absolutely perfect. He was an absolute perfectionist at growing them apples. Right after the And the Lord dealt with me one day. He said, you know, just as that guy pruned those trees and all that stuff, sometimes we got to prune ourselves spiritually. And we've got to get some things out of our lives. And we've got to absolutely, because, you know, to have a tree that's healthy, sometimes you've got to clip some limbs off and do some certain things and all that to make it be perfect. I had no idea. Mine would be scalped up and look like this. Oh, well, who got a hold of that? They think Ray Charles could. Blind man. But he was perfect. Everything was just perfect. And I thought, man, this is amazing how he could do this. And I thought, well, man, our spiritual lives, if we would prune and fertilize and seek God and call upon the name of the Lord, read our Bible, seek God and say, God, I got to have a release. You got to prune me, Lord, so that I'll be in your will. And then I produce good fruit. Solid stuff. What's growing in your garden today? Is the strongholds got you? Are you planting the seed, harvesting the seed, watching it growing, and then consuming that root? What is growing in your garden today? Do you need to seek God today? Every head bowed, every eye closed.